In the vast history of humanity, there are names that shine like the brightest stars, whose lives echo through the centuries as examples of courage, wisdom, and unshakable justice. Among them stands the commander of the faithful, Ali ibn Abi Talib, may peace be upon him, a man whose birth, life, and legacy remain unmatched. Born in the sacred sanctuary of the Kaaba in Makkah, Ali's entry into this world was itself a divine sign. From the earliest moments of his life, he was nurtured under the care of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family. This closeness was not merely of kinship but of soul and purpose. Ali grew up in the Prophet's household, absorbing the values of honesty, compassion, and faith long before the world knew him as a warrior, scholar, and leader. From a young age, Ali displayed unmatched bravery and unwavering devotion to the truth. When the Prophet Muhammad began calling people to Islam, Ali, though only a boy, was the very first male to respond to the call, embracing the new faith without hesitation. His acceptance was not one of blind following, but of deep conviction, as he recognized in the Prophet the voice of divine guidance. Through the years that followed, Ali became the Prophet's closest companion and most trusted supporter, standing by him in every trial. In the early days of persecution in Makkah, when others wavered in fear, Ali's resolve was firm. In the migration to Medina, when assassins plotted to kill the Prophet, Ali risked his life by sleeping in the Prophet's bed, allowing him to escape safely. Such acts of courage were not rare in Ali's life, they defined it. As Islam grew, so did the challenges it faced, and in every battle for the survival of the faith, Ali's sword and heart were at the forefront. At Badr, he struck down the champions of Quraysh with a bravery that became the stuff of legend. At Uhud, when many fled in panic, Ali stood as a shield before the Prophet, enduring wound after wound. At Khandaq, it was Ali who faced the fearsome Amr ibn Abd Wad in single combat, a duel that changed the tide of the battle. The Prophet himself said, "The strike of Ali on the day of Khandaq is worth more than the worship of mankind and jinn." These were not acts of violence but acts of defense of truth, justice, and the vulnerable. Ali fought not for personal glory, but for the preservation of faith and the protection of humanity. Beyond the battlefield, Ali was a man of profound intellect and compassion. His knowledge was vast, covering theology, law, ethics, and the sciences of governance. The Prophet called him the gate of the city of knowledge, a recognition that Ali's understanding of divine law and human nature was unparalleled. In times of peace, people sought his wisdom for solving disputes and interpreting the finer points of Islamic teaching. His judgments were models of fairness, rooted in both the letter and the spirit of justice. His life was a living example of the Quranic principle, indeed, Allah commands justice and excellence. When the Prophet Muhammad left this world, the question of leadership became central to the Muslim community. Ali, though the most qualified in knowledge, piety, and experience, initially withdrew from political contention, choosing instead to preserve the unity of the believers. For years, he served as a trusted advisor to the leaders who came before him, offering counsel and guiding the community from behind the scenes. But when chaos threatened to consume the Muslim world, the people turned to him, pledging allegiance to him as their caliph. Ali accepted, not out of desire for power, but out of duty to restore justice and lead the Ummah according to the principles taught by the Prophet. Ali's rule was marked by a purity of governance rarely seen in history. He lived simply, wearing coarse clothing and eating humble food, refusing to distinguish himself from the poorest in his community. The treasury of the state was for the people, not for personal enrichment. He would not hoard gold or silver, nor would he allow favoritism to corrupt his court. Governors who abused their authority were dismissed, even if they were close relatives. Justice, in Ali's view, was not negotiable, it was the foundation of leadership. In one of his famous letters to Malik al-Ashtar, the governor of Egypt, Ali instructed him to treat people with kindness and fairness, saying, "They are either your brothers in faith or your equals in humanity." These words, spoken over 1,000 years ago, remain a timeless lesson in human rights and ethical leadership. But the path of justice is never without enemies. Ali's refusal to compromise truth for political convenience brought him into conflict with powerful figures who sought wealth and influence. His caliphate faced civil wars, at Jamal, at Siffin, and against the Khawarij, battles not for conquest but for the soul of the Muslim community. Even in the heat of these conflicts, Ali upheld principles that astound historians to this day. He forbade his soldiers from looting, from harming the innocent, and from desecrating property. In war, he was merciful; in victory, he was humble. Ali's speeches and sermons during his rule, preserved in the collection known as Najul Balagha, reveal a mind and spirit deeply committed to God and justice. His words speak not only of political matters but of the moral duties of leaders and the fleeting nature of worldly life. He reminded people that leadership was a trust, a burden to be carried for the sake of the people, not a privilege to be exploited. His governance was a delicate balance of strength and compassion, law and mercy. The end of Ali's life was as noble as its beginning. In the city of Kufa, during the month of Ramadan, while in prayer in the mosque, he was struck by the poisoned sword of an assassin. His response to this act was not one of vengeance, but of forgiveness. He instructed his family to treat the assassin with fairness and not to retaliate beyond the bounds of justice. Even in his final moments, Ali's concern was for the truth and for the well-being of the community. On the 21st of Ramadan, the world lost one of its greatest leaders, but his light has never dimmed. Ali ibn Abi Talib's legacy is not confined to history books or religious texts, it lives in the hearts of all who value justice, courage, and compassion. His life teaches us that true leadership is service, that power is a trust, and that justice must never bow to personal interest. He showed that a leader's strength lies not in armies or wealth, but in integrity, humility, and unwavering devotion to what is right. His example challenges every generation to rise above greed, prejudice, and tyranny, to build societies rooted in fairness and respect for all. Today, more than 14 centuries after his passing, the principles Ali stood for remain as relevant as ever. In a world where leadership is often defined by self-interest and corruption, his life is a beacon reminding us of what is possible when leaders place justice above ambition, and the welfare of the people above personal gain. His courage inspires the oppressed to stand firm, his wisdom guides the seeker of truth, his compassion softens the hearts of the powerful. The story of Ali ibn Abi Talib is not just the biography of a single man, it is the living narrative of justice in action. It is a testament to the power of faith and the triumph of integrity over deceit. To study his life is to understand that leadership is not about ruling over people, but about guiding them toward the light of truth, serving them with sincerity, and defending their rights without fear. This is why he is remembered not only as the commander of the faithful, but as the eternal voice of justice in the annals of history. Ali's life invites us to reflect: what does it mean to lead? What does it mean to serve? And how can we, in our own lives, embody the principles he lived and died for? His story does not belong to one nation, sect, or era, it belongs to all of humanity. Wherever there is a struggle for justice, the spirit of Ali is present. Wherever there is a call for moral courage, his example answers. And wherever leaders seek guidance on how to govern with fairness and mercy, they will find it in the life of the commander of the faithful. This is not just history, this is a call to action. Ali ibn Abi Talib's life tells us that the pursuit of justice is not a path for the faint-hearted. It demands sacrifice, patience, and an unshakable commitment to truth. But it is also the path that leads to the highest honor, the honor of serving humanity in the sight of God.